It looks nice.
Yeah,
Real nice, Clark.
real nice, Clark.
Also, we could reach out to ThoughtSpace and see if they want to sponsor a segment. They are
No,
getting
they don't
free
want to.
publicity.
They said no.
Oh, bro. Wait for some people to come in.
Oh, you already started us. They even tell us you started us. This fucker.
See, no, remember before I'm like, I try to give you guys a countdown. You're like, no, it says right there on the screen.
No,
Like,
I don't
okay,
remember
I'll
that
stop.
at all. You
I
you need to
do.
you need to run this by me from time to time. You can't just make these decisions
You're the
for
one that
yourself.
said
We
it.
are a team here on Jammers in the Rough.
Are we?
I
It's
mean,
Team Page.
yeah. Nope, Cody's gone. I don't know
Well.
what to say. Well, we'll give it a minute. I'm tired, guys. What is up, everyone? We got another amazing episode for
No,
you of
he's
Jammers in the
lagging.
Rough. We have a special guest hopping in a little bit later, so that's going to be a surprise for you.
It's Eagle
Um,
McMahon. Yes.
As always, we have Cody, the absolute worst. We have Josh, it's bringing in the summer, winter, and of course, me,
That's terrible.
Paige. Super glad to be here, guys. How y'all been?
Not bad.
Yeah, great.
If
great.
I accidentally cut out, Maryland right now is getting like 60-mile-per-hour winds and supposed to lose power at some point. So
That's kind of hitting, like, I think everywhere. We're on, some of that wind and rain and storm watch.
right, right.
If you guys are tuning in here and you signed up for San Am Open here in the Oregon series, check your emails. It seems as if Scott delayed it till the 28th because of the snow and the chance of frost, and there's a whole long reasoning for that. But if you tune in here and you're going to San Am and you had plans this Saturday to play, it's been delayed. That's unfortunate for me because I signed up for Maricopa, and so now I had to decide between Maricopa Open or San Am.
Are you saying Sam I am? What are you saying right now?
Santi Am.
Sam I am.
Yeah. Green eggs and ham, brother. Eat it up.
We just got a freaking tip, guys, so you're welcome.
Always.
From who? Malarkey.
Blow that ish up, Josh.
Blow that ish up.
Dude, is that that's Colton?
That's Colton. Here early this week. Finally waking up in time for our podcast at 6 p.m. PST.
What?
PST.
Never heard of it. Never heard of it.
But yeah, no. So what would you guys decide? So San Am Open is one of our bigger kind of tournaments to start our season. Like Cole Redon will be there. You got your Scott, your Chris, all of the who's who in Oregon disc golf is going to be there. And then, of course, Maricopa, which is obviously in Arizona, which is a lot warmer weather. The tournament hasn't necessarily filled yet, but it is a travel tournament with, some known pros that show up to it every year. I think the Hamas show, the Gibson show have kind of made some of their start of the seasons there. So what would you two choose for that between those two?
If you had the ability to travel with ease, like it's not gonna put strain on you, I would say travel. Something new, fresh. You can go to Oregon tournaments all the time.
Not at San Am though. It's a once a year course.
Yeah.
And it's almost like a travel course because you don't even get a practice round on the course. And this will be 2 years I don't play the course, and that's kind of too tough for me.
Too tough for you.
All right, so then Paige, I think it's going to be a personal matter. I don't know either one of these personally. So which one do you?
I'm not trying to make it personal. I think our fans.
It is personal. You were playing it.
I know, but I think our fans might run into a similar situation, and so the question should be, what would you choose? Big B tier or A tier?
So which one is going to improve your game more, or which one are you going to have more fun at?
Also, Donna said don't count on warmer weather. It's below freezing right now.
Yeah,
and there was snow a few days ago.
So then that's what I'm saying. Don't pick it on weather. Pick it on which one you would have more fun at.
So pick it on whether I have fun or not. I think I'm going to have fun at both of them. I think my game translates better to San Am. Obviously, I am better on golf courses for a lot of reasons. But I don't know. Week and a half. I could get a hit Santa Cruz. Go to De La.
So at the end of the day, Josh and I have nothing to do with what you say.
Yeah, because you're trying to make it personal. And I'm not trying to
That's
make it personal.
absolutely
I'm just using it as an example to start a
Then,
conversation.
if you don't
And
wanna
you
make
guys
it
want to talk
personal-
about me, which for once I'm not trying to talk about me. I'm just saying, given two opportunities, what would you choose? Well, whatever you want, Paige. Have
I
fun.
like how he's like, "Hey, this isn't personal, but you guys need to choose what I need to do." Well, that is the definition of personal. It's about you.
Oh,
So
I love this. I love this delayed response.
here's
It's like,
Not because
you
I
throw
throw.
far,
It's
but not
actually the
straight.
opposite. I don't throw far, but I throw straight because of Blue Lake. That's the only reason I'm good. I'm good at staying in bounds on a golf course.
so if you really want to involve everyone, make it a poll. If that's
Make
what
it
you
a
want to do,
poll?
it. If you want it to not be personal and you want the input of the people,
No, I just wanted to have a
Let
5-minute dialogue before we get into our segments with my co-hosts.
could
Fuck me,
care
right?
less.
All right,
Exactly.
guys. Let's
Jerry Yang
transition
says it.
to this
Screw you.
week's segment. All Day is our presenting sponsor. They're a local brick and mortar here in Portland. If you're ever in the Portland area, let's check them out. But they bring you our lovely first segment of Jamming It with Paige. Paige's Jammers. Something. Paige is throwing discs and talking about it segment.
All
So
right.
this week we have the Gateway Realm. So you might know that this is my surprise pick of the disc of the year. It was released last year. It kind of fills a 12-speed niche or void in Gateway's lineup. This to me kind of is where control drivers meet distance drivers. So for a lot of wraith throwers, if you're looking to add 20 to 30 feet, the Realm is kind of this similar feeling. It's more like 11 and a half feel. But it's going to, you throw it exactly like you throw your Wraith, and it's just going to give you like that 20 to 30 more feet. There's a couple different plastics. So you can see here, this is the NXT plastic that I just launched. It's a little bit flippier. They all come out a little bit domey. So neutral dome to super pop top. I do have an NXT plastic that does feel like Color Glow, but it seems like a little like prototype that I got from Colin. So I don't think they're readily available. They handle power and torque. Here's Colin with his forehand. He has about 420 foot forehand, and he's hammering it with all his power. Like right here's a good one where you can start to see the full flight and shape of it. It's making the bag. Like I said, I was a big Wraith thrower last year, and I like to cheese out distance. So being able to cheese out some of that distance, I was able to kind of get 20 to 30 feet extra for free without changing anything. And that's the kind of like sportsman that I am. Super cheesy. So that's kind of my quick take on it. Plastic, they now have NXT plastic, which is the new plastic. It's kind of feeling like a little bit star. If you search through a couple of them, they're a little bit tackier blends and a little bit gummier blends. But I was surprised at how much I like it. And I'm still bagging it maybe 3 or 4 months later after throwing it. And I'm back up to winter, which is like 440, 450 for me for distance, which to me, I'd usually like happy to push 380, but kind of getting these on some good clean rips. Ignore my last tournament if you played with me because I got a little bit neurotic because people were talking ish about my form. So I'm continuing to work on it.
Now,
Well, that's
go ahead.
no. I was gonna say that's kind of my quick take on the Gateway Realm.
I was gonna say I've been talking with Danny. Is it Beauchamp? Right? Is that how you say it, Beauchamp? And he is getting me a bunch of Gateway together. And he was talking about the Realm. He was saying it's one of his favorite discs right now. And he was saying that the different plastics are going to be different stabilities. Because he asked me what I like to throw, and I'm a big Wraith thrower. And he said, he said it's a 12 speed on the disc, but it's going to feel like kind of like you said, it doesn't feel like a 12 speed. So I'm thinking like those wide rims that I've tried before that I'm like, not too comfortable.
Yeah, it's like it really feels like it's closer to like a Wraith in hand feel. Maybe like a little bit, like I said, like 11 and a half. It's a little bit wider, but I almost like that because like my problem with like 12 and 13 speeds is one, like the power ratio in order to get the flight. I don't feel like with the wide rims I can get as much power into them, and I'm more prone to like 13 speeds really slipping out of my hands. 12 speeds I can sometimes get a hold of them, but sometimes you need that little bit of extra power, torque, and speed to get the flights out of them. And so this really, I think, is true stability where it's going to hold any line that you want it to. And then based off of some of these plastics, you can incorporate them, right? Like I've already worked 4 into my bag from super beefy headwind. Can't even get it to stand up if I tried, to that, like that yellow one that you see me bomb, where it's like, oh, hyzer, flip, to drift, to come back. And then you have obviously the more in between. But what really spoke to me is like, I think a lot of Wraith throwers like them because they control them. They don't necessarily go as far as you want them to because they're 11 speeds, but you're controlling them, so you're sacrificing your distance to make sure you're hitting your lines. And when you jump into 12 speeds, sometimes you sacrifice that control for a little bit of extra distance. And sometimes that works, but sometimes that gets you in trouble, like courses like Blue Lake and Milo. So being able to have that realm that kind of slots in between that, where you get that extra distance, I think is an important slot for a lot of those like Ray throwers, CD3 throwers, to really start to work in.
I think this is going to be a big jump for Gateway, because most of the time when you think of Gateway, what do you think of? Wizards.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, like, I think when I think of Wizard, I think of like that old head on the disc golf course. As like, dude, I've been putting Wizard since 1997. And that's what they do. It's like, oh, okay. But this is their first high speed driver that I think it feels like a real premium disc. So I'm excited to get them. Yeah, Gateway. Someone wrote Gateway equals weed. Like that's what you always thought. Like, dude, Gateway.
Well, I
their
think
stamps were weed on half of them, like the hemp blend. It's crazy.
no, that's where like I think Gateway too, because also like everyone thinks Wizard, right? Wizard, but they also had a lot of like pros that didn't want to jump with them because they didn't have a distance driver that can meet up with a lot of those like pros arm speed. And I think the Realm is starting to get that, at least on some of the pros that I've seen that throw Gateway. It's been able to handle a lot of their power and torque because of some of the variability and stability in the discs, but then also because of the mold just in general. And with Hooligan now partnering with Gateway for some of the molding, I get curious to see if they're going to manipulate some of the Realm mold, the Ether mold, to meet some of the Hooligan's needs, and how that starts to complement some of these two companies and what that partnership truly starts to look like. So I think Gateway we could be hearing a lot more from moving forward, because they also have what's known as some of the greatest putters of all time in the Wizard and Warlocks. And
I mean,
now
I will give them credit. They're the Wizard and Warlock to some extent. The Wizard has been a very popular putter for a very long time. So it's got to be good for something. People love them.
No, I wish
Yeah,
Josh could pop up some of these chat things, but no.
I've yet to run into someone who's throwing a Warlock or Wizard though.
Oh, that's also because you're in your little bubble where you play once a week and you play with your same three people.
Josh, don't let him put you down for having enjoyment of your game.
I'm scared to like sneeze and to make my internet go out right now. So like throwing things out.
Now, I will say this, Paige. I didn't know Gateway and Hooligan partnered. I knew Hooligan broke away from Lone Star, but I didn't know that they made anything official with Gateway.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you heard it here first, maybe. That might have been a slip of the old tongue. I thought it was known a little bit more, so we'll see some of those conversations. But if you look at some of their like Metal Flake Plastic, that's kind of a newer blend that
I got one of those coming.
Those are beef. You're not going to like it. Those are hogs. The Metal Flake Realms are hogs.
Well, because he sent me an Ether too, and I said, "Well, I don't want an Ether and a Realm that's going to fly the same."
So they're not going to fly the same. Ether.
No, he said he's going to send me one beefy, and one Ether.
Yeah. No. Like I will say, like the Ether is flippier than the Realm, but they're still great discs. Like for slower arm speed, they're going to be that same thing. The rim does feel a little bit wider than the Realm, but getting them up to speed, they do some great things.
The Ether feels wider. I thought the Ether was slower.
It's 12 speed, right?
Oh my gosh. Well,
I mean, so that's Paige's Jammers. I do think you guys should check out the Realm. I really do. I don't have any other Gateway disc, but if I was to recommend Gateway, the Realms are great. Go check out the Element. Those are great mid ranges if you like MD1s. And
I heard they fly like a buzz.
Yeah, well, no, I think they have, like everything, they have overstable runs and they have understable runs. The Elements, I think, do fly truer to like kind of MD1s, but also Gateway has like 1,000 different plastics, so it's like you're gonna find a plastic you like. I think they're worth giving a second shot or a third shot for some. They surprised me, but as of right now, the Realms made the bag and will continue to do that. And a quick follow up of last week's Paige's Jammers. The cherry got lost. The cherry's now out of the bag. So there's that, guys. That lasted a week.
That was shortly lived.
Lose it?
Blue Lake. It was a windy day today. I literally lost it like 20 minutes before I got over here. Well, like an hour before I started headed home.
Man, if you play Blue Lake and don't lose a disc, that's a damn good day.
Then stop playing Blue Lake.
Yes.
It sounds awful.
No, it's so much fun though.
It
Blue
is.
Lake's fun.
Then
Get
just
good.
throw
It's
like
really
hydras, and like what else floats? A dragon.
They don't
That's all you gotta
float. There's not water at Blue Lake. It's
Then
all
why is it called
blackberry
Blue Lake?
bushers.
Blue bushers? What the heck is a busher?
Blackberry bushes, and it's called Blue
Bushes.
Lake because across from the disc golf course is a lake that happens to be
Stupid.
blue
That's stupid.
and it has E. coli like every year.
Did you say E. coli?
Yep, they close it down for E. coli every year.
E. coli? Are you calling it E. coli?
No, I
E.
like it.
coli.
It sounds like a medicine. I got a cold. I need to take my E. coli.
So
E.
that's
coli.
mine. I wanted to give a shout out to All Day Disc Golf for checking it out. Starting next week, we will have discs to give away for Paige's Jammer segment.
Unless Paige loses them.
Unless
He
Paige
throws
loses
them. So we might have them. Or we might not. Who knows?
All right, Cody. I'm sure you got some shit to talk about. That's
Oh, I mean, it kind of stinks that it coincides with Paige's. Cody, the worst hot take. My hot take for the week is that 90% of disc golfers should not throw anything faster than 11 speed.
That's not a hot take. That's a yes. You're
not a hot
absolutely
take.
right.
But here's the thing. How many people, you might say it's not a hot take. If you go to any course and look on anyone's bag, how many people have a destroyer?
Oh, I agree.
I
Like-
see people that are like, dude, I'm going to throw this king farther than anything.
But
It's
your
a
hot
14
take is
speed.
like yes, that is true. There's a lot of people that shouldn't be throwing them. But I guarantee
Knock,
you go and ask everybody, be like, should you be throwing a destroyer? It's in your bag. They'd be like, no, I shouldn't. But hey,
they still throw it all the freaking time.
yeah, but my
they
point
say
is
they
your
shouldn't
hot
throw it, and
takes
yet-
are terrible takes because they're not like surprising or hot.
Oh my!
They're very
gosh.
mild. Like, yes, we agree with you. Is that going to stop people from throwing or destroyers? No.
I'm just
Is that
saying,
gonna-
you will get your best distance from a slower speed.
I agree.
90% of people. Good. You're on my hot take. I'm just
I
saying.
like this hot. This is similar to your hot take, buddy. Hot take,
Hot take
ketchup
ketchup is
is
good
good
on
on hot dogs.
Yeah,
That's
right.
probably-
Like,
that's got to be a Canadian. I guarantee it's a Canadian or someone from Maine. Is that one of y'all? Because you're all just bad people. See, 9 speeds are what a majority of people should throw. Exactly.
agree.
But I'm
And I
just,
think-
you do agree, but I'm saying a majority of people do not. They might know this, but they don't follow it. So
yeah,
my
but
hot take
that's
is
a
based
different. Like,
on
just like if I listen to half the advice I give youth, I'd be a lot better person. But I ignore my
So
own
you-
advice for better, like, or worse.
So okay.
What's up, Manny? Jumping
Yeah,
in.
Manny, just end the hot take. It's mild at best. I'm just
Hey
Freaking
man,
Tabasco level
sorry
hot
for
take.
being correct.
I think my
Tabasco take.
FD's better than anything else. So there you go.
There you go.
9 speed. I try other stuff. It doesn't work. This whole what were you talking about a second ago? The realm,
Yeah.
like a wraith, but not as stable. Is that what you said?
Like a Wraith, but a
stable.
little bit faster. It's like 11 and a half. Still kind of holds the shapes. Not as
Okay.
stable, or I mean, depending because there's so many runs, but
Yeah,
I
yeah.
throw them the same way as I throw my Wraiths and get a little bit extra distance. I like to cheese distance.
So
Yeah,
they're not
I-
as stable.
That's like Halo Run. Yes, you can find one's comparable to Halo. Star, you can find one that's comparable to Star. Like
Okay.
you're gonna find no comparable across all of the plastics. I would say they're kind of true stability where they're gonna hold any of the lines that you put them on. And if you're a little bit slower arm speed, they'll come out a little bit more overstable.
Yeah. See, all of you guys are like, how far are you from sea level?
I'm at sea level.
Yeah. See
Mhm.
that?
I only play underwater.
Yeah, that's good. That's good because the elevation that I'm at, everyone talks about. Oh yeah, it flies straight. I'm like bullshit.
Oh yeah, Colorado. There was somebody with a sort of Sexton Firebird, and
Yeah.
I played with them when they came down. They're like, "I've never flipped this over," and I'm like, "Dude, that's known to be flippy. Like, of course you're gonna flip it." He's like, "No, like you don't understand. In Colorado, like I can put all the angle on it, and it'll never flip."
Yeah.
because of the
Yeah.
elevation. Absolutely.
Even putters, just like, I mean, where was I? La Mirada in the fall, and I a putt out of my hand, like a 40-foot putt. I thought I was gonna have a birdie on. I didn't even know what hole it is, like 13, 12, along the road, through the trees, Mando down the hill, peered the gap, turned it a little bit too far right, about 40 feet out of my hand, putter. I was like, that's in. and it never did that level out thing that I look forward to here in Colorado, and it just floated right, and I was like, what the hell is
And I
going
will say
on?
the glide you guys have up there is crazy too, because like everything's like acts more overstable, but they also still get super glidey. And there's like times
only so far, and then it turns into a rock. It just goes and just drops.
because it runs out of spin and it just falls.
Yeah.
That's where like my buddy Colin, who CH Sports, a little shout out to him for putting this up on this channel. He'd be like, "Oh, look at this!" He gets like a beautiful shape, and then it just like falls out of the air, and we're trying to be like, "What's happening?" He's like, "Oh yeah, you're probably just running out of speed and spin."
Yeah,
it's just done.
It's just crazy. Home runs, you'll get more home runs out here, but you won't get as it's just like I feel like I throw farther at sea level.
Yeah,
and it's just crazy.
No,
although
I was gonna say somewhere like California, where sometimes you might be below sea level, and you're just like, I don't know, I throw 500 feet down there, and then I come back up here, and it's like taking all the energy to get to 400.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous. And then your putts, like, oh, I love the putts when you get glide on your putt, because you just like kind of just toss it in the air, and you just like glides for days to the basket, and then you come back up here and you can't get it up.
Yeah, well, that's you, dude.
Wait a second. Yeah, that sounds personal. Don't you bring that in my house?
Yeah. But it was, it was really eye-opening when they had the match play out here a couple years ago, just to still see what, like, some of those holes, Joel Freeman won that, and the hole one that he parked, and I think Big Germ parked that, and then hole 4 that Anthony Barella parked. Everyone that played that course, unfortunately, that course is gone. That they played that match play at. But just to see those bombs out there, it just blows you away. It just blows you away. Every time I've seen the pros and you just see them throw, but to have them throw on one of your local courses that so well that you're like, I'm trying to get to right there, and they're just like, nah, over there.
Well, that's like, I mean, that's the same thing. Like, I watched Michael Johansson carve Blue Lake up with a Comet, and I'm sitting there with like 9, 10 speeds, 11s, whatever I could do to get work, and he's just like whooping my ass with a Comet. Like,
yeah.
Chasing those like pro shadows is a whole different game, and it doesn't even like, because I think people like jump to like the Eagles and the Simons and be like, oh yeah, they're doing these crazy things. Like, no, put Michael Johansson, put Bearhart on there and see what they're doing, and like they're going to like out shred you and out control you. Like, even Sexton, right? Everyone wants to be like, he's such a control like player. He's going to out control you on the courses that you think you might be able to compete with them on, and still like 440 or just the things that they're doing is just next level for a reason.
Let's see.
So,
well, thanks for joining us, Manny. If you want to introduce yourself after you pop in, and to people may not know who you are, I doubt there's many, but
so for those of you that don't know me, I'm Manny Trujillo.
Got it right.
Trujillo. Oh, I didn't realize that. I didn't even see that.
It's taken him 3 years of podcasting to figure
3 years
out.
of podcasting.
Well, very nice.
This is Manny Trujillo.
Yeah.
Trujillo.
So, I do a ton of artwork, mostly for Discmania and a bunch of other companies here and there. Disc Golf Pro Tour cards; those are really cool. Do I anything else I should introduce myself? I mean, I've been on here before. I've never introduced myself before.
I was just saying, like, Josh,
I know.
I was gonna cue it up, but Josh took it away. I do want to let our listeners know that Manny is going to be joining us on a monthly basis for a guest segment. We're still working out the name, but something like Soul Crushed, I think works. Soul Crusher Artist Takes. I don't know. We'll figure it out. So if you guys have any ideas, type them in, and maybe we'll give away if we pick your name for a segment name.
Should we tell them what the segment's going to be about before they just start throwing out names?
No, I want to see the
names.
Takes. I want to see what names they have.
We will discuss that. I jumped out a little bit late. Have you guys touched on the big news of the week?
That's Josh's segment. So
let's go to Josh before we come back to me.
All right, let's do it. Let me pull up news this week has all been about one main topic, and we have a sponsor for this little news, which is Rare Air Disc, which is an online retailer. If you use discount code Jammers, you get 10% off. So go check it out. With that said, Eagle leaving Discmania. It's a big hit to a lot of people who are big DM fans that are losing somebody who they're following. We just recently lost Simon from
A year
Discmania.
ago, just recently. I mean, I guess it still stings.
Recently, I'm sorry, a year is not that long ago.
Antila's gone
Yeah.
too. Like for you, I mean, it's a tough time to be a DM fan, right?
Nicholas
Yeah,
Antela was
yeah.
a big surprise to me. I've known about the Eagle stuff for long enough to where it's still a little bit of a shock to the system to see his video, but at the same time, I at least knew it was coming. And I don't think he's going to Innova, Paige.
I know. I hope he does, but that's just my little fanboy hat still on, with wanting him to go to Innova. But I get really curious too, right? Like, I think Discmania and Eagle has been synonymous with each other, probably even more so than Simon and Discmania, because Simon always had his blogs. But I think Eagle and Discmania really having that connection and watching that kind of split happen, I get really curious to see, like, not necessarily like who made the brand what it was, but like seeing what happens next for both companies, because I think this is obviously going to be a huge kind of prove it year for Eagle, because he's going to get a big contract wherever he goes. He's going to get new molds coming out, and a lot of eyes are going to want to see him fail. I see a lot of Discmania people that are taking the LeBron approach and burning the jersey, or selling all of their Eagles discs.
You saw someone burn a jersey already?
No, not yet. But I'm just talking about in general of like, move all of your Eagle stuff. There's people that are like, oh well, he's not loyal to Discmania. It's like, he's been there 9-10 years. Like, he's been loyal. Yeah. Like, he wants to try something new, and that might help his game. Like, but there's a lot of people that are just very ready to sell Eagle out. But there's also a lot of people like me that get really excited to see what this brings for both Discmania and Eagle, and seeing if they can, like, I guess, elevate that next level for themselves, because they get so reliant on each other, right? Like, Discmania was pumping out so many Eagle discs that they neglected, like, Antela. They neglected like the Rookie of the Year. They neglected like some of these pros because they needed to pump out all of these discs for Eagle. Is it going to make Discmania better now that they have a little bit more freedom and not have all their money? And then Eagle gets to challenge himself with new plastic and get out of his comfort zone for the first time in 9 years with throwing something different. So I get curious about those things.
I like. We got a couple things in the chat real quick. Question to Manny: are you going to make art for Eagle? I think it's new art for Eagle.
I actually, after his announcement came out yesterday, we exchanged a couple messages and we briefly touched on that. Obviously, it depends on where he goes. Honestly, I do not know his landing spot, but I know it's
Innova.
No, it's not Innova. It's going to be a surprise. From everything that I've heard, I don't know the official, but I know it's just I feel like it's going to shock everyone.
Franklin.
It could be Franklin.
Yukon discs, Yukon active line.
But yeah, if you guys want my opinion, where I think he is going, and again, I do not know. So I don't mind saying this because this is not a spoiler. Exclusive. This is I don't know. But if it was my guess, but I don't think it is, it's that just because they already released their team, and I think they're pretty set on what they have. But I would have guessed Thought Space Athletics.
No,
come on here with more Thought Space stuff.
That would have been my guess. But
and that's where
I've heard other things that it's not that, because I have discussed that. So I don't know officially, but I've got a couple other opinions.
Well, and I don't think they've released their team because they keep Thought Space keeps slowly unveiling them all. And I know I brought it up last week with some of the signings, with Chandler Fry and the partnering. And I think we're seeing more partnerships from organizations like TSA and Infinite Discs. Like, TSA might not be able to afford an Eagle contract, but you take $1 million, you split it $500,000 to Infinite, $500,000 to TSA. That becomes a little bit more manageable, and then it opens up the ability for Eagle to have double the molds for Signature Series. rather than being locked into one company. Like I said, like Discmania having to pump out so much discs for Eagle, neglected their other pros, but having Infinite with, which is still my hope, right? I don't care about Innova as much as I do about the old Discmania lineup in Eagle's hands. That's what I get excited for. And
I want Infinite.
Infinite and TSA combo would be really cool and exciting because of some of those partnerships, which allow them to be open bag while also having some cool things happen.
Yeah, I don't believe someone says MVP. A lot of people say MVP. I don't believe it's MVP at all.
I don't think you.
In all honesty, I do not believe that at all.
Yeah.
So
I get that, and I don't think because Eagle needs to he should be the pivotal point of it, and being the Crush Boys 2.0 at MVP, I don't think it's rehashing what was already been done rather than what I think the step is, which is taking the new excited step forward. And I think with him talking about what was it, Discmania, when he first took it, it wasn't even the highest offer, right? So we already know money isn't driving Eagle right now. It's not the best offer that's going to drive him. It's going to be what he thinks is going to be the best fit for that movement forward. And that, like he alluded to, the gut feeling. I think that intuition is an important thing that a lot of people neglect, especially in sports like disc golf, where sometimes you just got to go with your feeling.
Yeah. Well, Eagle's always been intuition, if you know him and you just see his stuff, just see his vlogs and everything, you get that out of him. He's always been like that.
Do you think kind of how Simon got the Simon line? Do you think that's something that's important to Eagle, where he would get to create his own molds?
That's what they did with the Cloud Breaker and a couple other things. So you would think that would be in his contract or something, because I wouldn't be surprised. There's definitely some DM things that I know, but obviously I'm not technically employed by them, so I don't know a lot of stuff. But I feel like if that was important to Eagle, that UC would have done that, and he already started doing that with a bunch of different molds, the Rainmaker and stuff like that. So I think that's definitely important to Eagle, in my opinion, because that's with Simon's success going to MVP and seeing what they're doing, and even just having the ability to do that, with what they were doing at Discmania. I think that's kind of important that he gets that input on a lot of different things.
Well, this is also for me,
it builds his brand.
Yeah.
I get really curious too, because Eagle is probably one of the first people that got his Creator Series line and then chose to part ways, right? So I get curious if Discmania continues pushing out, which is a good mold in Rainmaker, which is a good mold in Cloud Breaker, if they keep pushing that out, and if some of that residual will continue to go to Eagle because he designed that mold, and what that starts to look like. Same thing, if Paul Macbeth was to leave this craft, the Athena, the Zeus, the Hades was all designed by him. Is he still getting some of that money from that? Because I think, or does DM just do the whole hey, it's no longer a Cloud Breaker, this is the new and improved DD4, and they just completely changed the name to not obviously honor the original creation by Eagle. But I get curious about some of those things and how it's going to play impacts and contracts
just
in the board.
I agree.
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, people, a ton of people throw the Cloud Breaker. I don't know how much that'll drop off because Eagle's leaving. How many people are throwing it because of Eagle? How many will switch to DD3? How many are going to switch companies? There's going to be quite a few people. That are going to switch companies because of Eagle. There's going to be the people that are loyal to Discmania as well. But the Rainmaker, I know people that love that putter. And that's one of Eagle's Creator Series. So it's just I totally see your point. Do they keep the name with some of these, or just change the name of the actual disc to something a little bit more generic and keep going? I like this comment by the Facebook user that we have to remember is the Eagle's 25 years old. He is still super, super young. You talk about all the young up and coming people. You got to remember that, what was he, 16 when he signed with Discmania? It's insane to think about how young he actually still is, but he's such a veteran on the tour. So he's still got a lot of time to do a lot of things. So who knows,
No, that's that's a really good point. Go ahead, Cody. Sorry.
I wouldn't be surprised with also you guys talking about the molds are they staying. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe there was some retooling done depending on who Discmania picks up, because you still got some pretty big names out there. I wouldn't be surprised if they pick up another major pro. I mean, you got Gannon out there. You have a couple more. Who's to say they wouldn't pick up one of those molds and do a retooling? Discmania is kind of known for retooling
the
stuff.
iceberg.
Yeah.
What'd you say?
I said the Rainmaker turns into the iceberg, and then they just modified a little bit for Gannon Burr.
Yeah.
And I mean, I just think because the contract negotiations are such a new thing, where players are starting to get power. I get curious about how that starts to draw implications, because right now companies are using, hey, come to me, get a custom mold. Hey, come to me, get a custom mold. And then players are leaving now. And it's really interesting to see what's going to happen to some of those molds. Like the FX2 is still out there. Chris Dickerson designed that. Is he getting some residuals off of the FX2, even though he's with Discraft, because it's still one of the best-selling molds that Prodigy has, and that's all because Dickerson's design, right? How are those contracts being negotiated? But this is the biggest scale that we've seen it, I think, with transition so far.
That's pretty crazy. I'm waiting until we start trading players.
Yeah,
if we're giving 2 players away for 1 back or something like that.
We'll give you Alden Harris and Gannon Burr for Eagle because we want him back.
Yeah.
Gannon just gets traded right back to Prodigy.
Oh my god!
Wow. Now I wonder if House of Disc is going to have anything. I'm just saying, not saying they're going to sign Page, or sorry, not sign Page, but Eagle. But I wonder if pros are looking at, hey, House of Disc now owns 5 of these companies. Is that something they want to jump into, where they can throw 5 different brands? Are they going to be able to throw 5
it just seems
different brands? Or is
it
just 5
different
one
companies.
Guy owns them all?
Well, the 5 companies, but there's no conversation between the 5 companies, right? If Eagle was to go jump over on Latitude 64, I don't think Latitude 64 is checking if Discmania is okay with it. They kind of seem to be operating independently. It seems like Latitude's even separating themselves from, Westside and these other companies to be more of their own entity to get, I'm kind of curious to see what's going to happen with House of Disc and how that starts to break apart a little bit.
From my understanding, is they still just completely operate separately. There may be a little bit of cohesion here and there, but there, as far as I know, it's just completely separate stuff.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But I do want to transition to we got 15 minutes. We got Manny's artist take. We talked a little bit about if you're following Eagle, that's obviously dependent on if he leaves. But how does this something like this, right? We lost Simon, who you're very known for your art. Eagle, you're very known for your art. You're still within the Discmania wheelhouse, but how is this going to? Are you excited about Alden Harris potentially being signed and doing art for him? Do you already have some ideas percolating? If Gannon Burr gets hired with them, do you have some ideas around that? Or are you just kind of in this kind of limbo where you're waiting and seeing how things start to pan out for yourself?
It's as far as any new signings, I'm unaware of anything as far as I'm unaware if they're signing any of these guys. Everyone has their opinion and everything like that. I try not to speculate. I try and concentrate on kind of what's on my plate, and I do have a few things on my plate for some of the people that are already there, because we still have Kyle, we still have Ella, we still have Colton, we still have some of the European
Babcock
players,
and Casey White, and
Gavin Babcock. I don't know if you ever saw the piece that I did for Ricky Yachty last year, but it was really fun. It was an alligator in a sports car, so that was a fun one. And sometimes you get some that are just it's not the signature series or the creator series. It's kind of their next level. What do they call them? I forget. The Shield series. Yeah. And those are definitely fun to do because they're just a little bit more run by the players' ideas. The signature series are definitely more like, okay, let's this is what we want and this is how we want it type of deal. So the creator series is more driven by the actual player, even though the signature series was, UC wanted more input in those, which is not, it's just, it's a little bit more kind of free flowing with the Shield series.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, so on my plate right now, I just have, I just got another email today that gave me about like 6 molds that I'd be working on.
Ooh, can you name those molds?
No.
Ah,
No. No.
You almost did. You almost did it.
I mean, I gave you some of the players that I'll be working with.
No,
I mean,
absolutely.
I'm sure you could be like, hey, with the exception of anything new, I'm sure you could literally think about it and figure out, oh, look, he's doing something for Kyle or he's doing something for Casey, so you could probably pick those up like, oh, it's got to, so, but there is some new stuff that's out there as well.
Mm-hmm.
So
well, that's always exciting. I know art is probably one of the first things that drew me to discs in general, being like, oh, I'm going to be in trouble because there's a lot of cool art on a lot of this plastic. And as you guys can see behind me, there's a bit of a problem.
That's a good kind of, I'm just going to use that segue as far as the good art to kind of introduce the segment that I'm going to be working on a little bit more since we really haven't said anything. So, for anyone out there, aside from these 3 that don't know exactly what I wanted to do, I did have a plan to kind of do my own kind of video. It's just, I got way too much going on between jobs and artwork and everything. There'd be one more thing to do. So I reached out to these guys. I was like, look, I want to do a segment specifically on the art of the disc. And I will go over, different discs each month. If you guys want me to talk about the art on any disc, feel free, as far as, the viewers. And I'm sure I'm going to consult with these 3 guys to figure out exactly if there's anything that we really want to talk about. And we'll go from there. If you don't mind, I may share my screen real quick so we can look at something. So I can go over something that was just announced, since we're talking about art anyway, and we're talking about this particular thing.
Ooh, that's. You want to give him?
What is he hiding? Does Josh have working internet to do this?
Can I do this?
So if you highlight towards like the bottom, like of the screen, there like pops up a menu, and then you can click share.
There it is. There it is. Oh wait. Okay, well I'm gonna move this to screen 2 so I can still see you guys while I'm.
Manny's moving all his new designs out of the way so he doesn't share that.
No. Is it sharing?
Yep, I'm gonna put it up right now.
All right, here we go, gentlemen. So this is. Oh look, I already ruined the surprise.
Because we're totally looking at that.
Yeah.
I don't know what you.
That little part was like, oh look, surprise ruined.
Yeah. No, so this is, this was announced yesterday with Eagle's departure. We really wanted to kind of design something that was really kind of Eagle, kind of part of the terms. I met with UC and Eagle on this to discuss what we really wanted. We wanted something kind of like, the Eagle kind of flying to new heights, something different. We still wanted a cloud breaker. I wanted to show something that was Eagle, really kind of going back to Colorado, kind of his roots and kind of where he's going. So we also wanted to throw back to the original cloud breaker, which I'm sure is the first thing people notice. It was like, wow, this looks a lot like
bushes, man, behind it. That's what I noticed. That looks like the original Cloudbreaker. Those little lines right at the back.
This one right here.
That's what makes me think Cloudbreaker 1.
Yeah. So, and also the angle of this as well, of the Eagle is fairly similar, and we wanted to have this vision of an eagle just continuing to soar. But we also wanted, one of the things was is it's kind of breaking off. This is why we had the feathers. We wanted something like it's kind of breaking apart as well. And that was my interpretation of this. So you see feathers kind of flying through here. The other thing is you see some feathers up here in this area where the feathers are actually morphing into the clouds, so they're part of the clouds as well. And to throw back, and also to throw back again to the original Cloud Breaker and to Eagle, we did this. So if you rotate it like this to where it's flat, to where it's the eagle's going straight across, this section here, see the mountains back there?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
So there's mountains back there, and that is designed after the Flatirons, that it's the mountain range. That's what they call them, right outside of Boulder. So we wanted that. So the way that I presented this to Eagle is like, I want like a big landscape with clouds over your hometown. And so that's what that kind of interpretation is. The other thing that I did with this composition is, I'm going to rotate it just a little bit more.
I like how when you turn it that way, the wings and the head make an E.
I didn't even think about that, but hey, I meant to do that.
Yeah,
I'm an artist, y'all. Look at that.
And then if you turn it back, it's a W.
And if you look, wait, if we turn it completely around, look, now it's an M. Now it's an M for Manny.
Totally intentional.
Yeah,
Manny,
Eagle
I'll take my
wins
residuals.
Nickman.
I'll take it. Just let me know.
All right. And so the other thing is, where the Discmania shield is going when it's upright is directly up and down, but as you rotate it, it gets closer to where the sun was on the original Cloud Breaker. So we kind of, for those of you that aren't familiar with my work, I like to throw in a lot of different little things like that. So, I mean, I can go through and show you a bunch of different things that I had in my artwork. I'm sure most of you are familiar with the bear.
Where's the bear?
Well, I think the exciting thing that you're doing here, as well as you rotate it, you're explaining like how it's meant to be seen because a disc rotates. So the whole art is meant to be rotated. When you pull it out of your bag and you spin it on your finger, it's rotating, and then you stop it and you're getting a different perception and view of the artwork. And I don't think a lot of artists like touch on that with disc golf, right? It's usually like, hey, look, this is one direction that you see this art. You turn it this way and you have it the wrong way. You got to turn it back this way. But what you're doing is creating this 360 effect that it's meant to be designed and be viewed while it's spinning, which I think is kind of cool.
Yeah. So when I approach something, it's usually, I try and approach it from a ton of different levels and directions. It just depends on what the stamp is, what it's for, and some take me longer, and to me it's a problem solving thing. It's like, okay, here's what I want to show. How do I solve that problem? And one thing about disc art that is really interesting is it's in a circle, and it always has to be in a circle. There's no way around it. You can do certain things that if you want to do something straight or up and down or whatever, but you can only print in a circle. If you do something that, say, it's a square, that means you're wasting space, the usable space on that canvas. So it's totally an interesting problem to solve every time I'm doing it. So that's for the record, that's an old canceled project.
Is that Cold Redolin?
No, this was for Cynthia Ricciotti.
Even better.
Cold Redolin is with DGA.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know if you could make art for other companies.
Oh, I can. I've done stuff. I've done stuff for DGA. But this,
hey, Cole, if you're listening, let's get you connected with Manny.
Yeah.
Man.
So so this
Manny
was something
me.
we did for Cynthia Ricciotti. It's already out there. I love this design. It was just so much fun. She was like, I want an alligator, a sports car that looks like Lightning McQueen.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
No, see, that's fun too. Like, I do miss, like, I think you showed off like it wasn't used, but you had like Ricky with the Raptor.
Oh
he
yeah,
had
yeah,
it
the
too,
Raptor
like,
stuff. Yeah, that was real
like,
fun.
those are just fun. Or when you go back to like you just auctioned off your Lone Hell 2 art, and you have like the kind of cutesy, fun, cartoony werewolf, and I was like, that's my favorite one, and it's still my favorite out of
Yeah.
all of them. But it's like, oh yeah, like they wanted to get away from that a little bit more like realistic, which is cool. Don't get me wrong, I still like the art, but it's like, man, just something funner because like for me too, like disc golf in and of itself is always just fun, and it's meant to be fun.
I'm about to auction off another thing. The Shogun. I think it's on the
150.
show. The Glow
Paige
Shogun.
is going to offer $27 to get mad.
150. Here, look. Let me
150. No.
let me grab that artwork real quick.
All right.
All right, everyone, look at Manny's computer. See what y'all can find.
Everyone, rewind 2 minutes.
Yeah,
Screenshot.
whoever can send us the list of what's on there, we'll pay you.
Okay, to me, this is one of the most badass pieces I've done. Like that's traditional for Discmania.
Do we want to minimize your share screen and
Oh
put
yeah,
you
do
up
that.
in the center?
And you might have to
that.
change your background, Manny, because it blurs it out.
Nope.
I think
there we
it'll
go.
there you
it'll
go.
work. It'll work.
Yeah.
God, that's so badass.
That's
a
still
cool
one of my
drawing.
favorite arts that you did, and I really didn't like that it was on a Shogun, but I really liked the art.
Well, we already discussed that it
Yeah.
was supposed to be an Iron Samurai. But and speaking of Iron Samurai, this isn't the final. Okay, let me.
I tried to tell you, and y'all made fun of me.
No, that first one worked fine though. That
Yeah.
first one
But
worked fine.
but see, this has so many things on it, it might blur them all out.
Well, where's my?
I blame our
stupid-
IT guy.
That must be it.
Must be it. Josh's fault as usual.
I'm trying to figure out how to turn off the. Oh wait,
Are
video.
you saying that there's an Iron Samurai 5 for out the
Hey,
day?
Oh, there we go.
Yo, my
see, 150.
dude, top left. That's number one right there all day.
Yep.
What, this one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was one that was you. Actually,
That's
yeah,
what I'm
that
saying.
was the
That's
final.
number one. That's
Yeah.
all day, baby.
And then this was the other one that was up for the IS1.
Mm.
Yeah, these were sketches that I did for the IS1. And then I have another one that I'm not selling just yet. That's just of these two. And it's
Okay.
pretty badass. But I'm gonna save that one for a rainy day. But yeah, those are the next two that I'll auction off. So back to the segment real quick. Yeah, I'm just gonna talk about different disc art. So if you guys want me to discuss anything, or want my opinion on anything, feel free. We could talk about all the other artists out there. There's a ton of phenomenal artists. Michael Ramanauskas does a lot of stuff for MVP. I think he's technically employed by them or just straight contracted to them. Canadian guy, still a really good friend of mine. Mike Insco for MVP. Marmoset, who does a lot of stuff for DFX. Of course, you got Skeet and Les and a lot of the old school guys. And there's just so many people out there that are just putting out awesome work. I got to move you guys back to my main screen over here.
Yeah, no, I think you bring up a really good point, especially because we're kind of coming to the top of the hour. Like I said earlier, we are bringing Manny in for a guest segment once a month. And so making sure that if you guys are going to tune in for that, we will give you guys ample time. But, come in prepared to ask some specific questions because, he's definitely a vast wealth of information. He does obviously amazing art. I would love to do one of these episodes where you do like live painting, live sketching. It doesn't have to be like disc golf related, but just being able to kind of like, hey, let's do some live art and then, do a giveaway or just send it to Paige would be kind of cool.
Just send it to Paige.
Just painting with Manny every fourth week.
I think, just
happy little trees.
Happy little trees. So really, I guess I'm putting it back on our fans. This is going to be as great as you are engaged, right? Coming up, asking questions, preparing yourself. If you see it coming, drop into one of like me, Josh, or Cody's DMs with some questions, with some guided thoughts. Like I know we wanted, like somebody mentioned, they wanted to get Cloudbreaker talk today. We were a little bit shorter, and we'll make sure that that's on the docket for next time because I think Cloudbreaker is always fun. I guess we did talk about the Cloudbreaker.
We talked about the Cloudbreaker art.
Yeah. And so, just like I said, making sure it's on you guys. We do need to be respectful of everyone's time. So, without further ado, guys, thank you all for tuning in. Like, subscribe, CH Sports. Go like us on Facebook. Soul Crushers Manny. So go check out his website. They have amazing t-shirts and art and discs. Go shoot him a follow. Manny's gonna be doing some great things with us. So with that, guys, keep jamming it in the rough. We'll see you next week.